Hey guys, it's Marcus with Horror Junkies of Utah, and I'm coming at you today with my guest, good friend, Alex Heinerman, and we're going to be talking about The Walking Dead, Episode 3, Season 6. What an episode it was. What was your initial, reaction to this episode, Alex?
I think it probably the same reaction everybody did, wondering, spoilers, how they could kill off a beloved character so uneventfully in the middle of an episode. You know, a lot of times people will die doing heroic things, like T-Dog trying to save everybody, or the dramatics of, Shane going after Rick. But this was just, well, nothing left to live for. Guy kills himself, takes down Glenn with him, or does he?
Yeah, exactly. And that's funny, though, that you mentioned that, because we were talking earlier, and is Glenn really dead? And there's a lot of, buzz and stuff going on the internet right now. Like, oh, no, he's not. Oh, he fell down on him, and the walkers were tearing him apart, not actually killing Glenn. But at the same time, I'm like, if these fucking AMC assholes do this and they make Glenn come back, I'm going to be super pissed. Because how do you get out of that situation?
Yeah, what's weird was, I think myself and a lot of people noticed it when listening to The Talking Dead, and Chris Hardwick was going out of his way to say it appears that he's gone.
Right.
And they did that in memoriam thing, and no mention of Glenn. And that was kind of what sparked all the controversy. So there's a lot of shock in the episode, and then all of a sudden the cool down comes with, maybe he's not gone. And I agree with you. It was a really bold move, and it was one that I really liked in the show, that they would just say, everyone's fair game, and it doesn't have to be a big deal when a character dies, even if it's a character that we really love. And then they'll turn around and say, just kidding, he made it out alive.
Right?
Sorry, you should have known that he is okay.
See, that's going to make me so mad if they just just kidding. Because that's almost like they almost put an attitude out there. We do what we want, motherfuckers. We'll trick you. We'll play mind games with you. And when you follow the comics of The Walking Dead, that's not how he dies. So I don't know. I mean, they haven't followed the comics 100% ever in the series. But the way Glenn dies in the comic books is he gets that baseball bat thing to the head.
Yeah. Lucille Negan's barbed wire bat.
Uh-huh. And here we have a different scenario. And I know they have never followed the comics, word for word and everything. That's fine. But I'm just like, man, okay, it's okay that they killed Glenn. I mean, obviously, people create that emotional, reaction to everything. And it's a character from season 1, that died, and so everyone's a lot of the people that I know are like, wow, could they do that? I'm like, well, it's not real life, but, not everyone can survive. But if they do play that card of, oh, let's kill Glenn off and then bring him back, amazingly, he survived a horde of zombies, I just think it's kind of cheating, man.
Yeah, I was also thinking, I think I had said that to you earlier, the comment that Michonne makes.
Oh, yeah.
I believe she's talking to Heath, the man with the dreadlocks and glasses, that sometimes you don't know the difference between your own blood and your friend's blood. And then the episode's called Thank You, so I was also thinking maybe thank you can also not just be that guy's last words, but thank you for saving me. I mean, there's a lot of things going around, and I'm with you that if they pull this card that he somehow made it out alive, I'm kind of done. That's just kind of, we watch a show and it was just a dream the whole time.
Yeah.
What's the point? Why did I watch this? It didn't mean anything. It's kind of like the same thing with Glenn. If Glenn was, I can't remember the character's name off the top of my head, but if he was laying on top of him and he somehow made it out of hundreds of zombies because it's Glenn and it's a character that we're supposed to love and cheer for, and nothing can happen to him.
Yeah,
the thing, like you were talking about, the thing with with him dying by the bat, I like that better in the comic, but I like the turn that this took in the show because it stuck true to that form. When they said season 6 is going to be ruthless, that's ruthless to me. That's just, well, fuck him, he's dead. He's as fair game as anybody else.
Yeah, and that's what I like, because a lot of people got mad, like, oh, okay, so Glenn is gone, he's dead. How could you do that to us? But that's real. Like, you guys can't just expect every character to go season from season from season. I mean, it's an apocalyptic world. Shit happens, you know. What did you think of the rest of the episode? So we got Rick, and he's kind of becoming a dick a little bit, in my opinion. Like, he says it how it is, I get it, but, you know, you got that scene before all this unravels where Glenn and Michonne are talking to him, and he's like, you know, basically, fuck it. You get back, but not all these guys are going to make it back. What did you think of that?
I think it ties into an on-running theme that we've seen in each episode where it's the authority figure has kind of been in question, and it's not just Rick. In the first episode, we have this questioning of Rick when he kills the guy who was screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
Then the second episode, I believe it's Deandra, the mayor of Alexandria, just kind of admits that she's not cut out for being a leader. She ends up hanging out in the truck while everyone defended the city.
Right.
And then we have Heath hearing Rick say, you know, you can take those guys out. Don't wait for them because they don't know what you're doing. You know what you guys are doing, and I trust you. I don't trust them. So I think there's this power struggle kind of thing going on, and it has been going on since the first episode. And I think it's just more to that. It's to create more conflict within the people of Alexandria and the people in the group. And if it culminates with anything within the comics, the big attack, if you want to take the wolf attack as the zombie attack, I think it kind of, when it all comes together, it'll be another one of those things where people realize that you have to be that ruthless, brutal, cutthroat guy like Rick is. You can't hope for the best and think the best is going to happen. It's kind of the adage of Rick will hope for the best but prepare for the worst. But he doesn't sugarcoat it.
And I was thinking about that when I was watching this episode. I actually watched it today, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, did Glenn fuck himself? Because this guy tried to kill Glenn twice. But Glenn's kind of got that forgiving attitude, and he's more, not humanistic, but just, you know what I mean? Like, he cares more about people in general, and Rick's just more real. So, if Glenn really did die, was it Glenn's own undoing? Like, did he just screw himself by being nice? And, you know...
Well, I think if he is gone, it's one of those things where it doesn't matter because all of that will be in vain. He's the only one, as far as we know, who knows that he let this guy live two different times. And he would be the only one who knows that this guy fucked him over and ended up being the one that killed him. And so if that was kind of the thing that they were going for, it will end up being a moot point because no one's going to know that that's how they went out. The only thing I can think of is life, at least that we've seen in the show, has been much harder on Rick than it has on Glenn.
Gotcha.
And Glenn has every reason to be optimistic. He's found love. He's found a group that he worked really well with, whereas Rick's had everyone turn on him.
Yeah, lost his wife.
His best friend was banging his wife. So he's kind of had this back and forth. He's the really nice guy. He's the angry, mean guy. Herschel teaches him to love again, and then he goes back to being an asshole. And so he's really kind of the wild card and not the wild card. You know, once he finds his way to being an asshole or a good guy, that's kind of the way he is. And so he can change, but we know more or less what to expect out of him.
But, so, with the ending of this episode, we have him in that RV type deal, and we have those two wolf people break in, and then he finds that jar of baby food, I believe, in the one guy's pocket, and he's like, he freaks, I think. He's just like, oh, crap, what happened? Is my kid dead? Like, because he knows, where would they get this from? Maybe my house at Alexandria? And then he shoots. Like, he goes ruthless on those people outside. And to me, they almost look like they were younger children people, but I don't know. But so is he starting to unravel again? Like season 3, you remember in the prison after he loses his wife, he goes crazy. Do you think he's going back there, or what's your perspective on that?
I think in the episode it's more of a panic. If you missed it, the guy he shot was the guy that Morgan let go, which I'm kind of interested to see if that plays out. It's hard to tell because they pay such little attention to Judith. I don't even think. I think she was in the episode the season so far once. It was when Carl was walking her.
Yeah.
And so I didn't make the connection that maybe they took her. The only thing I could think of is those guys were scavenging for food.
Yeah, and maybe.
But I also think that more of the panic stuff kicks in because he's like, oh, I've got the kid at home and there's a herd of walkers. I need to get the hell out of here because there's this giant herd of zombies heading towards my house. Mm-hmm. Or not my house, but, where I'm at, where we live, where my family's at. And it was served more as a reminder. And you could kind of see the panic on his face that he has to get the hell out of there to protect his family. And then, of course, he gets caught in the traditional trope of my car won't start now that there's all these monsters after me.
Yeah, like the cliche. Oh shit, there's zombies everywhere and it won't start and I'm fucked. And that was really interesting. But we also had some other things unravel in this episode. The whole thing with Michonne and that poor bastard that gets bit on the back and he's got that note and she's like, no, you're going to make it home. But he doesn't. Do you think that affected her psyche and how that plays out? Because, she was not promising, but pretty much making this guy believe, you will make it back and I'm not taking this note, and he doesn't.
I link that back to the previous season when she has that big falling out with Rick because I think she thinks Alexandria is a safe place and that these people are not just worth protecting, but they can hold their own. And I think it's just this kind of slow unraveling that Rick was right about these people not being able to take care of themselves.
Gotcha.
Because I think it was the mid-season finale of last year, I could be wrong, where she just punches Rick out.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, you shut up, your ways are done, we're going to make it work. And it's just kind of her realizing that, oh, someone fell down and twisted their ankle. Of course, it's a horror show. Guy gets attacked out of nowhere. Guy gets bit on his back. We'll pull through. We're going to make it. And then, no, you're not going to make it. Yeah. And it's just this slow realizing that she let herself get into the safe place where before she was very cutthroat, would keep zombies with her.
Yeah.
She lived off the land, kind of found a way to even work through hordes of zombies, and then moved to this place where everything was okay. She had showers and tons of people, and it's a safe place, and now, again, it's back to, well, I let myself fall into the trap of it's a safe place, and it's really not.
Yeah, exactly. What about Daryl? So we see Daryl in this episode, and he takes off, but we don't really know what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, where did he go? What happened? What do you think?
Yeah, for me, I put it back in that same category of people not trusting Rick, and I think Daryl's also in that camp. But I think that we've kind of been seeing a divide between
the group
Daryl
itself
and Rick, starting at the season 5. Daryl wouldn't even take a shower or change his clothes when he got there, even though Rick was telling him it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to more people think they know what they're doing, but Rick is the one who's dead set that he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So out of this episode, what do you take away, and what was your favorite part?
not sure what I take away, because I think everyone's attention is so hung up on what happened to Glenn.
I do as well. I think that's just the internet buzz right now. Like, who gives a shit what happened in the episode? Glenn, you know.
But if I have to take something away that's not the Glenn thing, I think everyone kind of had at least the main people were focusing around, including Glenn, but I think we and everyone else on the planet has talked about him enough. But everyone's kind of had this realization that maybe they fucked up. We talked about Michonne and the note. She wiped that, the thing she'd written on her hand off on her pant leg, maybe realizing she was wrong about the way that things were going.
Yeah.
Daryl trying to drive off on his own after talking to Rick and Abraham in the car. Everything's fine, and they end up meeting back at the fork. And then that look on Rick's face when he gets to the RV and it won't start, and he has that, maybe
panic.
I fucked up.
Yeah.
Look on his face. So I get this sense that the four characters of this episode really centered around kind of had their own, I made a mistake, kind of look on their face at some point in the episode, and it was near the end, at least in Glenn's case, it was near the end of his life in the episode, air quotes.
Yeah.
But everyone just kind of had this look or mentality of, man, I was dead wrong. The other person, so...
Yeah, kind of everyone was doing that, right?
Saying, oh man, Rick was right, and then Rick saying, oh shit, I was wrong.
Yeah. And, I can't remember the character's name that, the cornrow, or whatever,
Dreadlocks?
Yeah.
The one with the glasses?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's Heath.
He seems to be going through complex as well, especially when they're crossing that river and he, looks at his reflection, and to me, that whole scene is like, oh, man, what's going on, you know? Because he's always been kind of one with Alexandria, yeah, I know what I'm doing, I've done all these runs, but I think he's realized, I don't know what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah, and he had half his face was covered in
blood.
And that may have even gone back to you don't know what blood is yours and what's...
Well, and...
It could even be him looking down and just realizing, kind of going back to the oh shit I was wrong thing, that maybe he thinks, man, Rick was right. We don't know what we're doing.
Well, and when you text me that, you texted me that Michonne quote, and I was like, really? Wow, maybe Glenn didn't die. Maybe there's just so much blood in the scene that it goes back to that, you don't know whose blood it is, blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow, I don't know. But it was definitely very eventful. It got a lot of hate, I think, from people. I don't know why. I mean, I really enjoyed the episode, and whether Glenn's... so this is for me. If they bring Glenn back, I will hate that episode. But if they just let him, let's say, he got eaten and he's dead, then I'm fine with that because it's real to me. But if it's like, oh no, he magically crawled away and was just covered in shit so the walkers didn't see. There were so many and there was nowhere to go. How does he make it out of that? And I hope he doesn't, because I would rather him go down that way. And a lot of people are like, well, then his life didn't mean anything. But it's like, let's face it, man. That's reality.
Yeah, I think the reason people get upset is because they... for lack of a better term, they fall in love with these characters, and they want to see them triumph and succeed, but the idea of zombies, at least for me, has always been, it doesn't matter what you do, because they're always going to win in the end, because there's always going to be more of them than there are of you, which is, not to get off topic, but it's why I've always liked the slow-moving zombies better than the fast-moving ones, because it's just, it delays the inevitable.
Yeah, right? And they're always following you.
Yeah. And they're always there, and
it's kind of like...
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like death in itself, You look at it, and you're like, it's something that none of us are going to escape, and it's always right behind us. But you're right, they're slowly coming after you. I mean, there's no escape from these things.
And it'll kill me. I don't know how much... It'd take a lot for me to watch the show more if this next episode, if it turns out he makes it out alive. Because I think, like we talked about before, comics did it better. I think that's the obligatory comment. And if you want to talk about impact on the group, yes, it's much more brutal to see him go out the way he did in the comics. But to the narrative on the characters, what it means when they say, no one's safe. There are a few seasons ago where they said no one's safe, and it just meant secondary characters. If you're just someone who walked on set that day, you're toast. But
or if you were black, obviously. I mean, let's be honest, man. Black people do not fare well in The Walking Dead.
Anyway, but it would play to that notion that no one really is safe, and you don't have to have this spectacular death to die in the show, which I think, while the other one is more impactful to the characters, that's more impactful for the viewer. It's almost Game of Thrones-y.
Yeah, it was.
Game of Thrones, no one, anyone can die in that show. It doesn't matter how much people love you. The only person you knew going in who's going to die in that show was Sean Bean, because it's Sean Bean. But other than that, it didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter if they were someone they hated. If they hated them, they wanted them dead. They might live a long time. If the people loved them, they might die within 2 or 3 episodes. Which is one of the things I've always criticized The Walking Dead for, is this fear of killing off main characters. I think this is a big step in that direction of no one's actually safe territory.
Exactly. And when I first heard, I didn't watch the episode till this morning, but I seen all the buzz on Facebook, and people are like, fuck, and they were people in their posts weren't trying to give it away, but they were like, damn, I'm so mad, blah, blah, blah. It's like, did Daryl die? Is there riots in Detroit? Are people burning shit down?
That's what I was thinking too initially, when I hadn't watched the episode yet, and I saw a post that said something along the lines of, holy shit, Walking Dead, you got some balls.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm watching this right now. And it started off with a lot of Daryl at the beginning. So I was like, well, he's done.
That's what I thought. And
he's going off on his own. He's being a little pissy pants boo-boo baby and going on his own way because he knows what he's doing, and fuck you, Rick. I was like, God, you're fucked. You're going to meet up with Rick and get attacked from behind, and you're dead meat.
Yeah, so I thought when I first heard all the buzz, I was like, it's Daryl. He's going to die, but it's going to be like he gets shot by one of these wolf guys or something. But then in the episode I was watching, and as soon as Glenn says, I'll see you later, dumbass, or something to Rick over the radio, I was just like, It's Glenn, man. It's got to be. And then when that happened, I was like, oh, shit. But then again, we'll see next week. It's going to be pretty exciting. If they bring Rick back, though, I'm going to be pretty, or not Rick. If they bring Glenn back, I'm going to be pretty upset with The Walking Dead, and I might just stop watching it altogether. Fuck you, AMC.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anyone is safe and that I have no worries about, it's Rick.
Yeah, that's me as well. Rick and Carl.
Yeah, I don't see any way that the show would last without him. Carl's on tier 2 with Michonne for me. I think, yeah, that would be my 2 tiers. But again, if I didn't know ahead as much as I do, and I know that Michonne even goes off in the distance further into the comics. But I think that she's so wildly popular, especially as a strong female lead. She's like the Andrea.
Oh, yeah.
Of the comics.
She is, definitely. Yeah,
they'd be on my second tier, people who are untouchable.
Cool.
But I would have put Glenn on there, too, if I hadn't read ahead.
Yeah, no shit, right? So, hey, guys, this is the Horror Junkies of Utah. I am Marcus, and we have...
Alex.
And we just kind of broke down this episode for you guys. We'll see you next week and have a conversation about this next episode. It's going to be really interesting. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And we just did a spot at the Urban Lounge radio show last night. So look for that. It should be airing soon as well. You guys have a great night. We'll see you a little later.